Welcome back. You're watching Nation Tonight. Even as countries around the world grapple with recovering their economies after the pandemic, there's a looming threat of declining populations. Declining populations means reduced workforce, which in turn is bad news for economic recovery and economic development. It also means demographic changes and evolving social fabric of societies. Take, for instance, Japan's case. The number of babies born in Japan fell for an 8th consecutive year to a record low in 2023. The number of births fell 5.1% to 7,58,631, while the number of marriages slid 5.9% to 4,89,281, marking the first time in 90 years the number falling below 5 lakh. Now, South Korea's birth rate fell to a record low last year, despite billions of dollars being put in fact, to encourage women to have more children. The number of children a woman is expected to have in her lifetime dropped to 0.72 in 2023 in South Korea, which is down nearly 8% from 2022. The situation in Europe is similar. In Hungary, Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has announced that if women have 4 or more babies, they'll have to pay no income tax for life. A lot of intense incentives that have been put in place. So here's what I'm asking tonight. What are the factors behind lowering birth rates, specifically in Asian countries? Can post-pandemic economies keep up with the global demand? And how susceptible is India to such a crisis? Joining me on the broadcast to understand more of this is Poonam Mutreja. She's the Executive Director in Population Foundation India. I'm also joined by Vikramendra Kumar. He's a sociologist. Good evening, namaskar. Welcome to both of you. Let me start with you, Poonam Mutreja. What do you think are the factors behind this lowering birth rates, lowering fertility rates across the world, specifically in Asian countries, whether you see Japan or South Korea? As far as I understand, probably it's the high cost that is associated with raising a child and the kind of independent lives that couples want nowadays. Is there more to it? Are there any other factors that are contributing to this?
So you're absolutely right on the two factors. And I'd say that women, the aspirations of women have changed dramatically. They wish to study, be in the workforce, marry later, have fewer children. One big factor women and families are finding it difficult, in addition to what you mentioned, is the fact that childcare and elderly care depends primarily on the woman, and that is another factor that deters women from because the workforce participation rates are related to the fact that women often come out of the workforce when they have children. So the one thing I would say that impacts is the fact that we don't have much childcare, not only in India, but many countries, and those countries like Sweden, Norway, that have affordable childcare and, in fact, subsidized childcare, those countries, women are able to maintain the childbirths compared to many other European countries. And finally, education has is a huge reason for women having fewer children. A woman who's class 12 educated is likely to have 2 or less than 2 children, while if a girl is educated only primary school, she's likely to have 3 or 4 children. So education has really helped, and access to family planning services. In much of the developing countries, in the last few decades, we have seen the choice increasing, quality of services increasing, and women are taking advantage. And I am very happy to see they're taking advantage. There are other ways to solve the global problems and problems in India, which we can discuss. And I don't believe just putting money like Korea did. Korea put billions of rupees invested dollars last year for more women to get married and have children, it it had very little impact. We cannot look at women as baby producing machines who we switch on and off. We were telling them for centuries in the in much of the developed world to have fewer children, and now in developing countries we're saying let's have fewer children, and then you suddenly change. You cannot treat women like this. You have to support women to be able to have a family life and work balance.
Okay, let me go across to Vikramendra. Vikramendra, how do you see this? Do you see this, population numbers dwindling and fertility rates dwindling as probably a boon for an overcrowded planet, for, solving a lot of the problems that we are in currently? Or do you see this as a challenge, as a problem, and, resonate with what Elon Musk keeps saying, that you should have more and more children across the world?
Of course, depopulation is a big problem for the current generation. Uh, I think it's a challenge for those countries who are facing low fertility rate, and the government, though taking lots of initiatives, but it is not giving good results because of multiple factors. Maybe because of the high education cost, living is high living in space, multiple factors like strong gender differences between domestic works and childcare support. Minimal childcare support is also a problem for those countries who are facing problems with the low fertility rate. And also there is a lack of public tolerance between people over childcare support. Those problems are getting lots of difficulties among the youngsters whose mindset is not they are not able to set the mindset so that they can have proper families, they can go inside the marriage institution. I think so, like that.
Poonamji, do you see
Over to you.
see this pattern? I think you want to respond to Vikramendra as well. Please do that. But also, I have a question for you. Do you also see a pattern, across the world, that more and more women are choosing to not have babies, and therefore this trend of declining fertility rates, of declining populations across the world?
Yes, this is totally across the world. In fact, there are many countries that are going through a total crisis, like China, Japan, Korea, Hungary, which has made a strong statement yesterday and wants to invest in lots of financial support to women. Across Europe, and if you look at America and England, though they have better birth rates than other countries, and it is the fact that not just women, but men are not willing to involve and take responsibility for sharing childcare, elderly care, and household chores. If there were men and women both sacrificing their careers when needed or supporting each other, we would have a different situation. So the reason I was laughing and I wanted to respond to Vikram is because I felt that just asking the women to be in marriages and have children is absolutely, perhaps he didn't intend to say that, but that's how it came out. And that's unacceptable. And as I said earlier, the aspirations of women are the same across
that's
the
how we're
world
conditioned,
today.
right? It comes so naturally that it's the woman who should be contributing more, that it's the woman who should be taking responsibility of the crisis that we're in. We're conditioned that way, so we would think that way and speak that way. But Poonam ji, there are two sides to the argument, and the other one is the fact that while gender equality has helped women like you and I today to sit and speak and discuss issues, there's also the fact that because of that, a lot of challenges are taking place, case in point of what we are talking about, and therefore that is having an impact on the workforce. The numbers in the workforce are reducing, something which the economies require, something which, as I mentioned Elon Musk earlier as well, he also keeps saying that we need more hands in economies for development and growth to take place across the world.
Right. So we do need working age populations who have the ability to contribute to the economy. But no country has done well where there is a huge gender imbalance in workforce participation. And we also, the second problem is that we have differential pay rates and opportunities for women. Married women, women who are pregnant or who have children are often seen as areas of concern in
as a liability,
workforce.
as a burden, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So therefore, we have to change that, because see, if both men and women work and they share the burden, and the state provides, instead of giving incentives to women like Korea did, which didn't work, you do what Sweden did. Sweden has a fantastic system of, as I said earlier, and I'm repeating, childcare. Childcare, so that women without any worry and concern can work. We need to do the same across the world. We don't need to give incentives to women. We need to support women so they can be part of the workforce participation, and countries will do economically well. One, and two, like Norway and Sweden and Britain and Ireland, you will have birth rates continuing without the kind of crisis we are seeing in the other countries. Finally, there's something that has to be said about, we have to talk about greater male responsibility and male engagement. As it is, the burden of family planning is on women. Women do experience after childbirth a lot of morbidities. It is not easy for a woman. There's a risk to her maternal health, or morbidities continue for years together. And how are we expecting women to have more children without improving healthcare, investing more in healthcare, and supporting women where they need support, including skilling? So if we have economies where women and men can participate equally, even the number of children that we have is not a disaster. Second, I'd like to say, if capital can fly, financial capital can go across borders, why can't people, skilled people, qualified people go across borders? Human capital can also be, there are countries like India, many African countries which have a huge youth population. For instance, we have 370 million young people in India.
Interestingly, Poonamji and Vikramendra, India, as we speak, has the largest population. We've surpassed China in that. But even in India, there's been a continuing trend of declining birth rate. Vikramendra, if I give you the stats, in 2024, the current fertility rate for India is 2.122 births per woman, which is a 0.79% decline from last year. Last year, it was 2.139 births per woman, 0.93% decline from 2022. And the number keeps declining in 2021, in 2020. Basically, since the last few years, there has been a continuous downward trend when we talk about the birth rate and fertility rate in India as well. What sort of challenges are we looking at in India, Vikramendra? Are we at risk as well?
I think India is one of the largest country where in terms of population size, and I think we need to balance the trend. I think there is an urgent need to understand the intricacies between art of living and art of giving. I think both male and female has to come forward and accept the challenges in a holistic manner. it is easy to blame males counterpart that they are creating lots of problems for the females. I think that will not solve the problems properly. Both male and female need to come forward and understand the situation, and they need to go forward in a better way. I think as of now there is no problem. I don't see any problem with the India in terms of depopulation. But if this trend continues over a period of time so drastically and so rapidly, there can be problem for the future generation as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll wrap it up here with what Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said, that the trinity of demography, democracy and diversity is what is needed in the country to fulfill our aspirations. Let's see how this trend continues in India and across the world, whether it becomes a boon or a bane in the near future. But thank you to both of you, Poonam Mutreja and Vikramendra Kumar, for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your thoughts on this latest trend in population decline and birth rate decline across the world. Thank you very much.